This week is Fit to Live for Success Week. One of the most important topics for a successful future is avoiding problems with drugs and alcohol. Today, we have our school SROs, Officer Montgomery and Thomas, as well as drug prevention expert Hayes Miller from the Family Service Agency, our Region 9 prevention provider. We have assembled a few questions that will be of interest to high school students on the topic of consequences, treatment, and prevention.
The police department itself, we only have a right to search your cars and your beings when we have probable cause. However, the school administration, in the handbook, they have a right to search kids or students, whatever, anytime they need to, if they feel it's appropriate. Right now, in North Little Rock, we have seen several overdoses of heroin here recently. You'll see also it's been a big issue the last few years with things like bath salts. Fentanyl is a very deadly drug that people need to be very careful with. Those are just to name a few that you really should be very careful with, and with the heroin being the number one problem right now. There are some of the drugs that people use could be a misdemeanor, some are felonies. Also, a lot of times it depends on the amounts that a person may have in their possession, so that also could sway one way or the other what type of penalty it could be.
I would say, according to the school policy, yes. The main thing behind it is that every person is different, and without being a pharmacist or a medical doctor, you don't know how that person's body may respond to whatever type of prescription medication that you may give them. They could have an allergic reaction, it could cause them to have anaphylactic shock. You just never know, so it's not a good idea to just give your medication over to someone else. Some people say yes, some people say no. I, on the hand, believe that it is. Most of the time, when a person uses or tries out some type of narcotics, usually marijuana, and then they move on to the more hardened narcotics like Officer Montgomery was saying, heroin, being laced with fentanyl, LSD, which is acid, certain things like that. That's what I would say. It could be a number of things, if you have a child that doesn't have a permit or a driver's license and they're out driving, it'd be a different punishment from the judge versus one with a permit or an actual driver's license. Then you get involved with, state police where you've got driver control. You lose your driver's license. You're going to have that stiff penalty that you've got to pay the court costs and reinstatement fees. Classes that you may have to take, whether it be alcohol classes, driving classes, which they call defensive driving. So it could be a number of different punishments, I'd say.
Vaping is harmful, number one, but I want you to keep in mind, what were the lungs originally designed to inhale? The lungs were designed to inhale oxygen, nothing else. And so even though there are even people who have asthma, and so there are side effects to some people who may have to use their asthma medication. So vaping can be harmful. Anything that goes inside the lungs can cause a problem. I mean, vaping, in addition to what's considered combustible cigarettes, and of course vaping is associated with what is called, from items called e-cigarettes or electronic cigarettes. But yes, and they can cause what's called harm to the lungs or lung damage. More than 1,400 people have various types of lung damage, and then recently they've had it up to over 30 people who have died related to vaping. However, some of those vaping issues were also related to cannabinoid or cannabinol items that were in those vaping instruments. Well, the thing about having a problem with drugs and alcohol, it's an addiction. For a lot of people, tobacco use is an addiction. However, it may be also referred to as a disorder. Okay, and that is an addictive behavior is what you are not able to control. And the problem is that whenever the moment hits you, that addiction takes over you. You gotta have it, you wanna have it. It's an impulse, it's a compulse. And a lot of times it may also interfere with what it is that you're doing in your regular life. However, keep in mind that addictive behavior is addictive behavior. So it does not matter. People can be addicted to sex. People can be addicted to religion, in addition to tobacco, in addition to fentanyl, in addition to heroin or vaping. There are a variety of service providers in Pulaski County. However, one of those places is certainly the agency where I work, which is called the Family Service Agency. We have a multitude of services. We have programs for people who get DWIs, as Officer Thomas was describing. The judge is going to give out a sentence or tell them what's going to happen. But our agency is one of those places, especially also for minors, in addition to adults who may come to the agency and come to what's called the Drug and Alcohol Safety Education Program. And there's some specific classes that they will be assigned to and have to go through, rather to determine if they have an addictive behavior or rather if they just need an educational class as a reinforcement to remind them that this behavior is not acceptable, or help them get over their behavior itself. So you can certainly come to the Family Service Agency. We do family and individual counseling. The agency has substance abuse counseling in addition to DWI classes.
If you have further questions, the SROs are available to help and share information. And Ms. Kukula is our school drug and mental health counselor. Her office is located in C234, and she is always available for confidential assistance. Thank you all for watching.